Alright, now there is a stimulus and there is then response to that. Now what does this theory say? This theory simply says that in order to get a response, there has to be a stimulus. This is what this theory says. I repeat, in order to get a response, there has to be a stimulus. What is a stimulus? How many of you are familiar with this word? What is a stimulus? A stimulus is something that evokes an activity, right? That kind of, that evokes an activity, or let's say, or something. So for example, if you work hard for exams, the stimulus is to get a good grade. And again, the stimulus is to have a strong transcript. And the stimulus is to join a particular career. And that is why you are responding, that is why you are acting in a particular direction. So, I'll repeat, in order to get a response, there has to be a stimulus. Sometimes there are stimulus, but it is not necessary that there is a response as well. We get a number of stimuli, the plural of stimulus. We get a number of stimuli in our surroundings, but sometimes we are not responding to them. Let's say you have a friend, you are coming to the class and you have a friend who asks you, let's go to the cafe and have a cup of tea. Let's leave the class. Well, that's the stimulus. Your friend is stimulus. But if you do not respond, that's not, that's what I'm saying, that it can happen that you have stimuli in your surrounding, but you're not responding to them. In that case, you are actually reacting. In that situation, you are reacting. You haven't, although there was stimulus, you didn't respond to that, right? And again, it depends on, if a person is not responding, then maybe the stimulus needs to change. And this is why we do effect study. This, again, I have told you earlier in my PowerPoint that stimulus response model is related to the effects of mass communication. So whenever an advertiser, let's take example from the field of advertising. Whenever an advertiser produces a message, what he is saying, he is producing a stimulus because he wants consumers to respond in a particular way. When they are not responding in the desired way, like the desired way of advertiser, then he maybe needs to change his stimulus. And this is where effect study works. We study effects to see if audience are responding in our desired ways. Alright? And again, we need to be careful about this, that each stimulus works in a different way for each person. People have their personal preferences. People have their personal choices. Now, sometimes if there is a stimulus and there is a person who wants to respond to that stimulus, many people actually refer to their past. Let's say, again I'll give you the example from the conversation that two friends were having before going to the class. A friend A says to, there is a person A and then there is a person B. Person A says to person B, let's go to the cafe and have a cup of tea. Now, this person, before responding to the stimulus, will refer to his past to see what was his experience when he skipped the class last time. He may consider, when I skipped the class last time, it affected me because the teacher discussed a really complex topic and it didn't make sense for me. So maybe I shouldn't go to the cafe, instead I should go to the class. See, in that way again, stimulus is not producing the direct response, the desired response. So I have given you the example of past experience just to tell you that each person's circumstances are different. Their choices are different. Their preferences are different. For that reason, many times it is not possible that everyone is responding to the stimulus in the same way. Does that make sense? At actually this is the whole theory that we are going to discuss now. I wrote this on the board, but because very soon I will discuss the content what I have on PowerPoint, but I wrote this on the board separately because before I begin the formal discussion of theory, I just wanted to tell you what it is. And it's quite simple when you just think about what stimulus does and what is the meaning of response. Is this clear to everyone? Yeah. I'll stop here now.